I'm Hunter the Boss Ditch, and I'm getting interviewed by Keith Andrews, who's doing a fantastic, incredible, just innovative thing for people with disabilities. And I'm so honored to be on his show.
The whole point of my talk show is to show you that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities to never give up and prove people wrong. Prove to them that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be, so prove them and still amount to something. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the KeithAndrewNetWork. It is episode 1069. That is right, 1069 episodes. Today's guest, you just heard from the recommendation, so let's get started. You are an actor, a producer, a business owner, and a writer. I would love to talk to you some more off the air. Maybe you'd be interested in ghostwriting. But the first question I want to ask you is, who inspired you to become a professional actor?
Inspired me. Okay. I mean, I have to give a lot of credit to John Bailey. Optimus Prime and Detective Pikachu, and I'm sure your audience knows who John Bailey is. I had been a haunt actor for the majority of my life. And if you're not familiar with what haunt acting is, it's the people that jump out and scare you in haunts. And so most haunt actors have a built-in sense of improv, and they have to read the audience and they have to react. And then also, in a lot of haunts, the characters that you might play on a certain day are different. So this is something like using the tools that you have at your disposal that you try to perform, really quick and under pressure, and give an ultimate, awesome experience to these people. And so I had been doing that for most of my life. And part of that was voice acting. And so then when I met John Bailey, he was like, "You're actually really good at this." And I was like, okay, so I have done on screen because I was in foster care as a child, and they would do commercials, and I did some radio and stuff. And I was already kind of comfortable with the camera. And then I was doing the haunt stuff my whole life, and I love it so much. It never clicked to me that those were professional skills. Even though I was a paid haunt actor, it still didn't click that there was a whole nother level to where I would be going with it until I met him. And then he was like, "Hey, have you ever thought about this?" And then we started training, and we started doing some coaching, and I coached with Aaron Fitzgerald. And I feel like when I talked with Aaron and we were coaching about character development, and I got her feedback, I finally felt like I knew that it wasn't just, John had seen a thing and was like, "Okay, let's go with this." It was like Aaron was like, "Yeah, these skills translate, and this is how you do it." And I felt like that is something I want to do. If I already have the skill set and I know that I enjoy it in this capacity, how do we expand that?
No, absolutely. # absolutely. The reason I say that, I realize through 11 seasons, I've been saying absolutely every time I'm done talking. I need to come up with another word.
That's fantastic. I love it. # absolutely. I hope you have merch that says it.
Working on it. But it's actually funny you should mention that. The next one is, I want to promote some of your products, and I would love to buy some. You are a business owner, you are a professional tattoo artist, and you have your own merchandise. What can you tell us about that?
Okay, so my business, what kind of started my social media, everything, was I went on a TV show for inventing a industry. Now the LLC is called Digital Legacy Management Services, but my baby in that is Ever After. So that's what you're seeing on my thing. The Ever After is a way for people to reach out after they can't be here any longer, to the people that they love. And that is just And it's directly tied to a lot of my writing too, and like my sci-fi influences and things like that in there. 'Cause I just see a future where our love doesn't stop just because we're not here. And I'm trying to craft that future like this with everything that I have, like every extra penny. I feel like extra money is a misnomer now because everything goes to investing in my business. Every time, like if you've been in my lives, you see me like actively working on my site, like even in my lives when I'm live streaming. So I went on the show for that. And that's like my passion is to grow that business. And they said you have to learn how to use social media. So then I got onto social media, and that's where I started getting this following. Well, then I learned that if you're on social media, that people are really interested, like your hashtag. Absolutely. Is that what it is?
One of them.
Okay. So like your hashtag thing, that people were really engaging with like my personality and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, I'll have a merch shop. So I set up a merch shop with the help of my friends. That is not all me. I want to give like a lot of credit to Jaywalking Games. He helped with some of the ideas. I could just be like, hey, can we set up something that says this? Drew from Blabber, it's an advertising firm in the upper East Coast of America. And he was like, yeah, I think we should maybe go in this direction. And he did a few shirts. I also have James. He's just a member of the syndicate, just like, the people I hang out with online. I was like, hey, I'm feeling something biker. Can we get something tough? Can we like maybe incorporate my like V for villain? And then he came up with my favorite design that I have that I use on like everything now. Not to take anything away from Jay, who I love all the work you did for me, Jay. It's just like, it's so tough that it's like, and it's round and I love it. And yeah, so James did that one. So that like a whole lot of credit doesn't go to me in that work. I might have had the idea, but they physically put in the labor to do it, and it was a labor of love on their behalf. So that's where the merch came in. And then, I just set it up on there, and, it's really just to be there for the people who want to have it and support me. I haven't made a whole lot of money on it. It's not like a big deal, but it does make me proud when my friends buy it and they wear it. It makes me feel like they want to support me, and I love that. And then the Hemp Wizard, the lotion, and the beard oil that I have is not mine, not made by me at all, but it is inspired and collaboration by me with Hemp Wizard. So the owner, Mike, reached out to me through one of my syndicate members, Darren, and he was like, I really want to do something for your syndicate because he was like, I like your whole vibe. I like that you guys are like positively villains. And he's like, what can we do? And I was like, well, I have a very well-known addiction to Rockstar Lemonade. It's well documented. Like, this is what I run off of. Coffee and Rockstar Lemonade. So I was like, whatever we do, like if you really want it to like be me, you want it to smell like me, is going to have some like Rockstar Lemonade to it. And so then we were talking, he's like, well, what other stuff do you like? And I was like, well, I really love coconut and tropical things, but I also love clean scents where they're like crisp and linen and like that just fresh smell. I'm not too big into florals at all. Like florals actually kind of bother me. So he sent me out the first bottle, and I was like, honestly, I was expecting it to be like too much like I don't know, like suntan lotion or something with coconut in it. But bro, let me tell you, if it wasn't absolutely perfect, he put this citrus blend into it, an orange on top of the lemon, and it just like changes the whole vibe. And then I've had nothing but really, really good feedback. People are just constantly like, the lotion is so good. And it's men that are buying it and they're loving it as much as I do. And I'm like, what? It's like I knew that I loved it when I had it, but then like seeing other people enjoy it, I'm like, I can't believe that we made this happen. It's all collaboration. It's all a group effort. That is what's so wonderful. It's not like I know I'm the boss, but like it's everyone else's work. We're all working together. We're all in the same boat. We all have like a dream of everybody working together and like making cool stuff. So that covers the merch. Am I missing another thing?
No, that was perfect.
Okay.
But the last thing, other thing I want to talk to you real fast. I'm just looking. If I look down, I'm not avoiding eye contact. I'm looking
Okay.
up for other questions, but I'm looking at your Instagram. We're close. I'm not pat myself on the back. I'm a little in the lead, but you get back at me because you completely blow me out of the water. You have on TikTok 58.5 thousand people from you, and I'm not to sound like an asshole or anything. And I'm like, I'm sitting here. I've been doing this for 10.5 years. No one knows who the hell I am. But then I see someone like you. I'm like, you are a beautiful woman, number one. But you are an inspiration. So I'm like, if you can get 58.5 thousand, I think that's what the K means, thousand people, then I should follow in your footsteps. So,
I would love to help you do that. And thank you for calling me an inspiration. I think what you're doing is inspiration at 1,000 episodes. My gosh, because I don't think I've even posted 1,000 things on TikTok. But so that's dedication for sure. I have actually, because of the short period of time that I was there and gained so much momentum, I've actually started coaching other people. Like I said, this was a new experience to me. And now I'm coaching the Bloxers and other people in how to use their social media. And so I think one of the things that I have to deprogram from people is this idea that they have to be perfect. Because there is nothing perfect on my page. Nothing. I don't click the right time. It's not like timed the right way. I pause too many times. My face is all like whatever. Nothing is perfect. But if there's one thing that I can let everybody know for success in anything that you do, okay? Those things that you have been told are not good enough in your life. Those things that you feel like you're still working on and that you should hide and that you don't want out there are the exact same things that make you uniquely who you are and are your message to the world and are what going to connect your audience to you.
No, I agree. Now we're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about disabilities and social media when we come back from this quick commercial break. We're back from the commercial break. You're watching the Keith Andrew Network. If you're watching, you're obligated to leave a comment. No point in watching if you're not going to engage with it. This interview will be posted on all social medias: YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. Our goal is to reach 100 and more views, and you're supporting a good cause. I normally don't see my announcement because of my announcements in front of the show, but I was thinking last night when as you're trying to go to sleep, you're trying to block things out, but your mind automatically turns on. How can I say my announcement under 30 seconds? And I came up with it, if you want to hear it.
I did. Let's go.
So, obviously, you hear it in the introduction, but for you, I'm making it. What's I had $1 for this? I will make an example, an inception for you. The whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can sell them out to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities to never give up and prove people wrong. Prove to them that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be. So prove to them, stem out to something. I used to say that in the beginning of the episode, but I didn't want to take time away from you. I think that was under 30 seconds.
I love it. I love it. It's great. Take all the time you want.
Yeah. So the first thing, I know I mentioned social media and disabilities, but I have a special effect for this, so I'm going to use this one. I say it's a blessing in disguise. Some people say I'm an asshole for saying that, but I will explain. When the whole pandemic started, did it give you a time to sit back and refocus your life? And the reason I say that is people are like, oh, I wish I can stay home and don't leave the house. And I can do this, I can do that. And then the pandemic happened. And then you felt like you're under house arrest. So the question I want to ask you is, how has the pandemic impacted your life? And do you feel and think and feel differently from it?
No. I mean, so I was one of the frontline workers. I work in healthcare. I provide healthcare for the last 8 years. Well, not this past year, but prior, for people with disabilities. And so when the pandemic happened, we were still providing healthcare. And if anything, it was more hours because so many people chose not to go to work or to not get vaccinated. And so in Missouri, it was actually mandatory that you would get vaccinated or not work. And I didn't have that luxury, so I got vaccinated and I went to work. So no, it didn't really change my life because I've just been continuously working the entire time. That's just, the name of the game. I didn't get to sit at home or do anything like that. Some of my kids were doing better in the online schooling anyways, and we've dabbled with homeschooling prior to that. So that was still kind of the same thing. It was really just finally waiting to go back out into the world and to like populated areas. But even then, I never really cared for being in highly populated areas anyways. So I'm kind of a weirdo and a workaholic. I'm one of the exceptions where it was just kind of same old, same old. I think a lot of people who are in healthcare have that same experience.
Yeah, it's funny you should mention that. And maybe you heard this expression. For my expression is, you can't fix stupid, but you can numb it with a 2x4. And there's a woman who I interviewed who's a nurse, and like, yeah, well, it's true, you can't fix stupid, but you can sedate it.
That's freaking awesome. I love it. That's great.
So the next one is, for people who want to follow in your footsteps who have disabilities, what are the do's and don'ts? Because you are famous on TikTok. So what are the do's and don'ts?
Okay. So what I can speak is that I have been, my son is on the spectrum, and my middle daughter, she has ADHD. Myself, I and possibly my youngest daughter, we're severely dyslexic. So when I was a small child, I spent a lot of time in classes where people were trying to beat into my head the difference between a P and a Q and a B and a D. And I was really young when I realized that I was not going to get that concept, and those people making me repeat it was a complete waste of time. So I had to think out of the box of how was I going to get out of these stupid classes, okay? And back then we had Sesame Street, and they had this thing where you could see blocks. And so essentially, with the Sesame Street class, I learned to speed read. And that helped me tremendously. I still can't spell today, but my reading is off the charts. My IQ is 147. Well, it was last time it was tested by a doctor. That changes with age. I might be a little bit dumber now. Who knows? But what I'm getting at is the way that one person experiences a disability and another are completely different. And the way that you've been taught or the tools that you've had at your disposal are not necessarily the best tools. And you might have tools that other people don't have. So you need to think about those tools that you have as an advantage and use them to the max and help other people who might be going through the same thing that you're going through. I can't tell you how many times I run into a dyslexic person and I'm like, hold up. It's not 187, it's 187. And just that little bit of, I see what you did there. can help change their life. It really can. And there are more people out there who understand a learning disability and stuff than what you think. A lot of people aren't talking up, okay? A lot of people aren't brave enough to speak up, but a lot of people have this and they're not talking about it, but they could use your help. So connect with your audience and be honest about, you know, the privileges that you have and the knowledge that you have, or the disadvantages that you have, and be willing to listen to other people, because like what works for one person might not work for another, and it's a long road, okay? And so be open and express to your audience. Don't be hard-headed about anything. Listen, grow, everything that I would tell somebody without a disability. And a lot of things, can I talk to the people who don't have disabilities? I'll tell you this. I've worked with my son and with people who have autism for 8 years, okay? And they need you to treat them like an equal, not like a little child, okay? Talking louder they're not deaf. They're not deaf, yeah. Okay? They don't need to be talked to like a baby. They have all the same needs and wants and everything as everyone else. There's a neurological detachment from them being able to show you. That's it. Everything else is the exact same. Give them time and respect in responding. And you meet them on their level. If they have a hard time being verbal, that's fine. Let them type. You slow down and take your time to be a decent human and listen to them, because they can tell you. I know people that use sign language who are autistic. I know people who write. I know people who prefer to type. Whatever it is, it's not that big of a deal for you to just slow down for a second, because 99% of the like behavioral issues and things that I've seen go on in the industry is just people. I don't know if they don't know this, but autism is actually mostly diagnosed with a high IQ. So you're talking down to a person who is more likely smarter than you. So don't. Just allow people enough time and space to say whatever they have to. It's pretty simple, and you're going to see miracles. I feel like a lot of the issues are really not so much my son or my clients adapting to the world, but the world like just not even accepting a normal like thing. Like if I told you that I can't use my left hand, I only use my right hand, most people would be like, okay, cool. But for some reason, when it comes to slowing down or using another device to communicate, it becomes like this huge hurdle. And I'm like, no, It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Just be respectful.
Yeah, absolutely. The last 5 minutes, I'm going to pass it over to you. But, I agree with you. Unfortunately, I'm not saying I agree with you. Unfortunately, long choice of words. No, I agree. But I'm not saying, unfortunately, I was in that category. I worked in Woodbury Commons, and Woodbury Commons is the second biggest mall in North America. Great mall. I would recommend it to everyone. There's one store I worked at where the guy liked shove it in my face. Not in that way. I don't swing that way. Like shoving in my face. The fact that he always liked saying, we don't know how to work with. If I was black, if I was Asian or Spanish, this would be a racist thing. He said to me, and I quote, "We don't know how to work with people like you." And I'm like, every single freaking day he's saying when I mess up, this is why we don't hire people with disabilities. This is why we don't work with people like you.
Exactly what I was talking about. If you were missing an arm, though, they would be like, oh, here's your assistive device. This is what we do. But all of a sudden, it's an intellectual disability, and it's somehow less than. Like, it's the other people that we deal with that seem to be way more the issue than the actual disability. No, I'm sorry, man. I just want to, strangle that guy for you.
No,
Can you talk about his name when we get off?
Yeah, absolutely. And then I worked at, I'm never going to work at this place ever again, so I will tell you. I worked at Off Saks Fifth, and ironically, the woman's name was I won't say it. I can tell you off the air. Starts with a K. She heard from the other guy, Keith has a disability. So when she explained something to me, she's like, okay, we're gonna do this now, all right? And I'm like, I'm not retarded. Look, I fall under the spectrum of being retarded. And that's not a compliment. I could pass if I wanted to. But you don't have to say, we're gonna pick up the table, okay? Here we go.
Yeah, you're like, I have a disability. I'm not a small child. Thank you.
And meanwhile, what really pissed me off is she would purposely do that when there's customers around. If it was
so she was doing it to look down on you and to seem better. Oh my gosh. Oh.
I hate people like that.
Oh, it's the worst. It's absolutely the worst. And I can't. It's ableist. It is straight up ableist. Like, you talk to people with the same respect that you could. You know what would be wonderful for these people? If everyone that they encountered that day talked to them like they were a little freaking baby. I just want to do that to them. Like, straight up. I just want to be like, are you okay? Are you fine? Do you need me to slow this down for you? And then, like, they'll understand how stupid they look. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. I imagine you probably go through a lot of that in your life. Right. I've seen it with my clients, and it's something that I wish we could just eliminate from society, but sadly it's still there.
No, you're 100% right. Now, I do want to say one thing. Was there anything you wanted to promote wrapping up the last 2 minutes? But if you're also watching, we're going to go do a special sit down with Keith Andrew that's available on TikTok or Instagram. What's the last 2 minutes? I'm going to pass it over to you.
Me? To promote? Well, I don't do a whole lot of self-promotion. I just kind of work a whole lot. If you want to help support me, you can follow me on TikTok and Instagram. I'm in LA, so apparently your value as a human is directly related to your number of followers here. So that always helps. I am a Tuesday host of Freckle TV on Discord. So if you are interested in seeing more of me at all, you can see me on Freckle TV on Tuesdays, which is pretty great. I'm doing some voiceover stuff on my other account, VoxyDitch. I try to keep everything in my link tree because I got a lot going on. Yeah, that's kind of it. None of it's super lucrative. I just really enjoy creating and being a part of an awesome community, and that's what I got going on.
No, absolutely. Now stay tuned. We're gonna do the sit down with Keith Andrew when we come back. About wrapping up, it was a real honor and privilege having you as a guest. I hope I made a good impression on you, and I extend my hand to you in friendship.
I don't know how that works, man, but thank you so much. No, it was wonderful. I think what you're doing is awesome. And yeah, eventually someone's going to see it, and you'll make that difference. You're making that difference. Every day you get up and you choose to do this 1,000 times. Way to go, man. I can't even wait. You're a young fella. How many more thousands of times do you have left in you? That's pretty awesome. Well, you know what? We should talk about my Ever After business, about preserving your content and things like that, those types of needs and stuff that you might have for that.
No, absolutely. Did you want to do that now, or did you want to do that on your channel? Because we're actually going to do a special episode on TikTok as well.
Whatever you want to do, I'm down. I think that it would be fantastic, though, because you literally have this wonderful content already packaged and good to go. And I do solid state storage and account management and things like that. And you already have a platform. I think it would be great to work with you on that.
Yeah, absolutely. We can talk about that on the sit down, the Keith Andrew Network, when we come back from this quick commercial break. Until we meet again, catch you later. Thank you. Have a good night. And remember, you always reach for your dreams.